Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the MSL Group G round of the 32 matchup, Game 2 between SK Team 1, UUV and Orion. And I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be an interesting game, considering the fact, and UUV, I've got to say before I get into this, UUV looking quite chic in his outfit there with his hat. We saw Kanata wearing that hat and he just looked like a complete moron in it. UUV obviously having the pizzazz and the charisma to pull it off. He is one of my favorite Terran players. He is starting off at the 9 o'clock position, Orion starting off the 6 o'clock position. It looks like Orion has decided to scout in the right direction. He's scouting clockwise, and therefore he's going to find UUV's base straight away. And that's useful for a Zerg player, especially on a map as large as Zodiac, where even if you do have similar positions, I think getting that early scout in can influence the game quite a lot for a Zerg player, because it really allows them to have that early intel, and therefore they can decide early on in the game how soon they need to get that spawning pool down, whether they can go 12 hatch or whether they can go try hatch, or whether they need to get a spawning pool down a little bit earlier, and also kind of an idea of what the Terran player is going for if the Terran player chooses to fast expand. I think it's useful to be able to get that scout in early, though usually if the first overlord doesn't get there, the Zerg player will send his drone out, but that does delay the scout a little bit, so I think it's kind of useful for Orion, a little stroke of luck, not that it should have any huge bearing on the game. UUV, interesting enough, has not sent an SCV out yet to scout, and it'll be interesting to see if he does, and if he does meet with that overlord. Looks like there's a emerging circles, and UUV has actually gone for his racks now, so that's interesting for me that UUV built a supply depot behind his mineral line and then built a barracks at the ramp. If he was looking to block off his ramp, he would have probably preferred to have built a supply depot there, so I'm not sure why he would choose to do that. I guess he's just decided that that's just where he wants to build his barracks, and he can block off the ramp later on if need be at short notice. And Orion looks like he is going for a 12 hatchery build. He's sending that drone out towards his National Expo. I doubt it's a scout, since he's obviously seen UUV's racks, and a pretty standard play from both players so far. On a map like Zodiac, you would expect the Zerg player to fast expand. You would expect them to go 12 hatchery on a map like this, although 9 pool is not something to be scoffed at either. We've seen that used quite effectively by Jadong, not in the not too distant past. And UUV, oh my god, UUV's putting a barracks down at his Natural Expo. UUV's building a second barracks, and this is very clever by UUV. I guess he figures that that overlord has already gone past and has already scouted past that area, so if he builds a barracks there, that's going to be unscouted by his opponent. The thing is, if he is building a second barracks, he should really be sending an SCV out to scout his opponent, which I guess once he finishes building that, and actually it looks like he has sent his SCV out, so to be honest, he probably doesn't need to scout per se to know his opponent's position, because he saw the direction where the overlord came from, so UUV knows definitely where the opponent's coming from. But this might be bad for UUV, because we've got an overlord now wandering up, a second overlord wandering up from, sorry, forgot his name there. Orion sending a second drone out, but we've got a second overlord wandering over from Orion over to that racks, and Orion is actually going to spot that UUV now in Orion's base with that overlord. Orion's now put down his third hatchery, so Orion unfortunately has already infested the minerals in that third hatchery without having seen the barracks. He's now going to see the barracks with the overlords. He's going to see that what's coming from UUV. UUV is not going to be able to actually get try and get a later bio push with a fast two racks push with medic and marines, but he's just going for a straight out marine rush. He's now trying to bunker up outside, and Orion's going to be forced to defend. He's got a spawning pool up though. He did put that spawning pool up after the hatchery, so he's going to be forced to defend with drones here, and that bunker cancelled. So this might cost UUV a little bit, and Orion now getting the sunken down as well. I'm not sure how well this is going to play out for UUV, because unfortunately for him, he placed that barracks in a position where it could be scouted by that overlord. It was just a stroke of luck that Orion sent a second overlord. I have to say, I think I suppose he just sent that overlord out to just have a position over UUV's National Expo, and so perhaps UUV could have expected that racks might have gotten scouted, though perhaps not as early as it did get scouted. And now UUV sending the SCV in just to scout, and that sunkens up. So UUV's rush has pretty much failed, unless he's got an academy going and he's ready to bring out the medics and marines straight up. But I think Orion is going to be able to cope with this now, and UUV in a little bit of trouble, because he's really committed himself to this build here, and Orion has got a lot of Zerglings. He's pumping Zerglings from 3 hatcheries, and UUV's got no medics. He's not got the academy up. He's only got a handful of marines, and they're out in the middle. If they get caught off by these Zerglings, UUV's going to be dead in the water. He's going to be out of this game. This is going to be quite horrible for UUV. Okay, Orion doesn't have the third hatchery up yet, but he does have it up now, so he's going to be pumping Zerglings. He's also getting gas though, and he's got more than enough hatcheries to keep a decent economy, considering the fact that he did invest in the economy, so he's not going to be behind economically. UUV has got that academy up. He needs to get a couple of fire bats out or something. He can't afford to. This is risky by UUV. He's venturing out with those marines. Orion has got a lot of Zerglings there. If he gets his marines caught by those Zerglings, he's going to be in desperate trouble. I'm not sure if Orion is trying to lure him away to then try and surround those marines, or if he's just trying to keep his Zerglings away, and UUV's successfully warding them off for now. So UUV has successfully warded off those Zerglings. Critically, UUV's now bringing those medics out, and Orion only has got a single, and what UUV's doing very brilliantly here is he's keeping those Zerglings away and preventing them from seeing those medics, or Orion choosing to tech the lair. He's got one sunken down, he's got a second creep colony. I don't think UUV's got enough to break the Zerglings plus the the creep colony, and I'm not sure if Orion has actually seen those Medic and Marines go past. Uvi's got a couple of fire bats coming back as well. If Orion can catch those fire bats out, this could be terrible for Uvi. But if Uvi can bring those, and Orion must see the push coming. He's bringing those Sunken. Uvi needs to go now before those Sunkens morph. And Uvi is going in. He's focusing on the creep, the Sunken that isn't finishing, and I think that's the right strategy by him because he's going to reduce. And Orion forced to bring out his drones. Where are the Zerglings? Zerglings coming in. There are no fire bats here. Only one Zergling comes in. Where are the rest of the fire bats? And the fire bats are actually trying to intercept the Zerglings. They're doing some damage to the Zerglings. They're not nearly enough. The Sunkens are down. This is terrible by Orion. Horrible micro and just not. And Orion's going to get taken out there. This is brilliant by UV and really poor play by Orion. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. He just left his Zerglings out in the field. He just let UV walk in, overconfident in his ability to defend against that push. And this has to be the most rookie mistake by a Zerg player I've seen in a long time. But wow, UV looking lethal in lethal form and playing a fine game of StarCraft, and Orion brushed aside lightly as if he was a fly, swatted by the might of the gorilla. And UV is going to go up and go off and recharge his batteries there with a couple of bananas before he gets ready to face Flash in the winners matchup, and that's going to be an exciting game. So well played UV. He certainly made that push count. And I've got to say, he played that perfectly, though. I think Orion had an opportunity to do some damage to those Marines, and if he'd taken those Marines out earlier with the Zerglings, he would have won. GG, this is Klazart. Thanks for listening.